Good morning. This is Jason Moss of the Georgia Manufacturing Alliance Manufacturing News Network. Today, our fifth or sixth edition of the Manufacturing Town Hall, virtual town hall. Excited to have everybody on the line with us today. It's April the 27th, and it's been quite an interesting 6 weeks at GMA, and for all of you guys as well. We all getting experience a new normal. And the reason that we do these town halls is to be able to share best practices, to talk a little bit about with other industry professionals about what's going on in the marketplace and how we're responding to the coronavirus. I was reflecting this weekend a little bit about what was going on, and trying to figure out what the next new normal is going to look like. We're going to get very tired of hearing that term, new normal. But we got to see what it looks like going forward. All of us have different challenges that we're facing, and I think there's opportunities for all of us. And we just got to figure out how we can work together and support each other through getting back to business. Governor Kemp last week opened things back up for a lot of manufacturers, and well, not just manufacturers, but a lot of businesses across the state. I did not get my nails done. I'm sorry, but I didn't get my nails done or a new tattoo yet. So, he got tons of pushback on what businesses he opened up. I am, we're going to try to stay out of the politics side of the house, but I personally, as a business owner, am thankful that he's given the people back the choice on what to do and what not to do. If you're not, if you don't think you're ready to get back out and circle around, find your level of risk that you're comfortable with and deal with that and work with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about, again, as businesses, what our risk tolerances are, and both for exposure for the coronavirus, but also, what are we doing for our employees? What are we doing in our supply chain? How are we impacting how are our suppliers being impacted? But on the flip side of that is, how are we being able to supply for our customers? Because I know we got a lot of businesses that are cranking back up. I'm going to be on a conference call next week with CSCMP, and it's an organization for supply chain professionals, and they've asked me to share a little bit on the manufacturing side. And they were surprised to find out that you basically self-certify as a manufacturer if you choose to be an essential business or not. It's kind of up to you. You kind of pick there is no official. I found after digging in and really pressing a few of the leaders in government to find out where the list is and who qualifies. Ultimately, the way it shakes out is if you choose to deem yourself as essential and you're manufacturing, you're making product, you can stay open. And businesses have taken all different approaches around that. Some of them are, were some of the first to shut down, and some of them have worked through and developed a new process in their business. It does look like apologies, I'm looking at my calendar on the wall, but May 4th, it sounds like Kia will be back online. They're not going to go, to the full high production that they're accustomed to, pushing out a car every 57 seconds, but they are going to get back into production. So they're bringing all their folks back on May the 4th. Now what that means for the supply chain in manufacturing, especially if you service the automotive industry or companies that work with that, that go live date, May 4th, is, going to impact many folks on this call, in one way or the other. So it's going to be interesting to sort of see how that flushes out. I'm going to work to bring some other folks that are engaged in that to some of the upcoming calls to give us some insights on what they're doing and how they're ramping back up. But I'm thrilled to have Sloan on the line with us. I know he's out doing a gimbal walk. We're seeing him kind of checking out his facility, but when he gets settled and comfortable, we'd love to have him. We're going to have him share a little bit about what's going on at their facility at Tie Down. And, they've been very active and engaged with us all the way through this journey. So it's really, really cool to see how stuff's working out and then how it progresses through the process. And Sloan, if you're good, I'd love to bring you on a couple questions that I wanted to ask, and actually introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your company, your role there, and that sort of thing. And I've got a couple questions I want to fire to you. Fair enough?
Sure thing, Jason. Thank you for having me on board. Apologize, I was not able to make any of the calls last week. It seemed like every time the 10 o'clock or even the 4 o'clock Friday, I was really looking forward to just having to deal with just more crud, for lack of better words, with this whole thing.
Right.
But glad to be back on. Company's tied on engineering. We service 7 different industry spaces in the, transportation, agriculture, manufactured housing, about 7,000 different products we manufacture in our 8 facilities here in the Atlanta area. And naturally, pretty much across the board, everything has been affected. Even essential businesses, our largest particular customers, shut down this week, not because of a case, but because they're giving their suppliers the opportunity to basically catch back up, because the supply base has naturally been completely affected in all this. Fortunately, we've not missed a beat in terms of being able to supply them. We even had plans in place if we had to get management involved to run a machine. Like, we're just ready to do it. Kind of like what Caterpillar did way back when they put their engineers out on the factory floor to build basically their tractors about 10 years ago. So we're ready to do that if it really came down to it. But yeah, it's been a challenge. Last week was particularly tough for the company, but we're motoring along and doing what we can to support our employees and make them feel ultimately safe, that they can in fact come to work, and they're absolutely needed. I mean, their job now is more important than ever in a lot of ways. So with that, we've also been looking at possible opportunities during this whole crisis for, well, how can we potentially support whatever this new normal effort may end up looking like. And so much of this has been geared in the hygiene space. And like one particular area that was kind of unique that came up in terms of an opportunity is they keep saying, obviously, wash hands. Well, or wash frequently. That's pretty difficult to do at times when you may only have like one break area, one wash station. So now people are actually, one of the things that we're potentially working on is a mobile wash station that would space out 4 sinks on basically a big table type cart, and you can deploy these things almost anywhere. There's just going to be a lot of behaviors that have to change, even once this does ultimately blow over. Let's see. Hey, I think you said you had a couple questions though for me.
Yeah. What is it that, the basically current status, head count, supply chain? These are kind of some of the three top buckets that we wanted to touch on. And are you been able to bring your folks, keep as many folks engaged? What's that looking like? I know at one time we had talked that you guys had an active case, and it was sort of one step removed, and I know that there was the cleaning process and getting everybody back on stage. How is that looking? Oh, we just lost you.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, fortunately, we were able to quarantine the entire department, and we waited for their test results to come back. And depending on where you go to get tested, will ultimately drive how quickly you get those results back. We were able to get some people into the CVS area over by Georgia Tech. That was within 24 hours. Others had to wait almost 5 days. But the good news is that particular department, they all came back negative. We had one confirmed pending case where all the symptoms were being shown for nearly a week, and that also came back negative. So we've been trucking along. Fortunately, it did not get out of our control. We did employ a safety firm. I highly recommend that to manufacturers. Put this in the hands of professionals. Don't just count on doing it all yourself. And so what we're also able to do is establish a anonymous hotline where they can reach out to a dedicated safety professional and voice any concerns, or if they have any questions, instead of management having to provide all the answers that at times we just don't have.
Wow.
So that was a real big help, and worth every penny of it, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Fantastic. That's great. And if you got some folks who feel comfortable referring them, we'll open that up and maybe put that in the show notes of who a contact is in that area. So, or recommendations on that. That'd be great.
Yep. Quick note, you mentioned automotive and Kia. This is actually a good opportunity for raw material supply. There's right now, especially in the plastics area, because they're not building cars and they got to push and find a home for that supply. So one silver lining is that we've been able to get some pretty good purchases and buys on raw goods, just because, again, people are trying to find homes for it. So couldn't believe what we're able to get our plastics and everything. Now it's going to be temporary, not going to go on forever, obviously, but again, we'll take any silver lining we can.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That's awesome. That's awesome. You got to keep your eyes and ears open and be ready for that. That's one of the things I so much love about tie down is the ingenuity. I mean, you guys have got like tons of patents. I mean, if you're not familiar, I encourage you to check out tiedown.com and take a look at that. But I mean, these guys are always figuring out new ways to come up with really cool solutions to tough problems. So, and I know you're going to come out on the top of that for sure. And a couple other things is forecasting. What do you guys? What's your crystal ball? I mean, what's it looking like for you based on what you've seen?
I hate saying this. I wish I was not right on this one, but when we first had this call 4 weeks ago, in terms of what we're projecting for the month of March and then April, we are right on target to hit those numbers, the bad ones, unfortunately. We were projecting a 40% drop. That's exactly where we're at for April. And it may be down to half or basically 50% now, which is even worse than we originally anticipated going into May.
Okay.
It is what it is. And we've had to make the necessary decisions to mitigate the outfall from that. But it's all going to ultimately bounce back, but it's pretty painful in the short term for sure.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, what are you guys doing as far as marketing? What's your game plan going forward? I mean, one of the things I'm pretty sensitive to is we've got a big event. September the 15th is the Georgia Manufacturing Summit, so we're prepping for that in different ways, as you might imagine. But trade shows have pretty much been shut down for the whole country from March to now. Is trade shows something that you're planning to do? Are you doing print ads, or how are you bringing or going to market now with tie down? What's it look like for you?
Well, obviously trade shows are completely out of the question right now. Unfortunately, a lot of those shows happen at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And so we, basically we're kicking off the 2020 model year. Thank God we got those behind us. But kind of like in your vote as well, September's a big one for us. We're going to be in the solar power show. That's a big growing business for us. And what are we going to do there? So really, it's just a tremendous amount of marketing through digital media, constant contact type campaigns, growing that email database as much as possible. And also that this is a unique time to find good buy opportunities as well in the advertising space, because their revenue's down, and oftentimes you can negotiate nearly half what they were ultimately charging for their services, whether it's getting a contact list. And we've been able to find some pretty good buys there. So there's opportunity out there. You just got to ultimately find it and act on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love it. Well, what do you guys what are you seeing out there? I mean, what recommendations do you have for anybody currently in the manufacturing space as far as game planning for the balance of the year? I know right now we're putting together a really unique training session that we're going to be talking about the deadly social distancing. What does that mean? How are we going to work through this as businesses? But any steps or suggestions that you got for manufacturers right now that maybe have been shut down, they're bringing their systems back up? Anything that you might share with them that you think would be helpful on them? I think
the number one thing ultimately is communication. That's the biggest one, whether it's with your employees, your suppliers, end users, customers. Really, the more communication, the better. That's one area where when we had our first case, we were very tiptoeing in terms of how much information we want to put out there. And, but we didn't put it, the perception was you didn't put quite enough out there. And so we knew, all right, well, we need to, that was the one main feedback that we got from internal was just communicate more, but we'd rather have all the information and try to determine from there in terms of how to act on it. But really, the more information, the better. Engage your customers, engage your suppliers. And heck, we're probably just talking way more than what we did before all this started. So that's probably a good thing also to come out of this.
Yeah.
But that's probably first and foremost is communication. Secondly, you got to really enforce hygiene. You got to enforce the social distancing. You may have to be a little bit of a thump them on the head with a stick type attitude, but it's pretty easy for people to kind of go back into their old behaviors. But now, like, actually people are definitely adhering to it, and I think that also shows why we're not, thank God, not seeing any more pending cases. I mean, I like to think and convey that you're almost safer at work, and especially in the manufacturing. Most manufacturers have a lot of space, right? So there's no reason why you can't maintain 6 feet. And frankly, where it's going to the grocery store or heck, even going to a gas station, that to me is more of a challenging environment than an environment that we can manage ultimately. So that's just those two big things, really: communication and maintain the social distancing and doing what you got to do to stay hygienic.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. We've got a trusted safe space, right, at work. And you, like you said, you got in manufacturing, you typically have a lot of space. I went into Walmart this weekend. It's Saturday. Dude, I walked through the door and I turned around and walked right back out. I'm like, whatever is in there that I thought I needed, I did not need it that bad. I mean, people were stacked on top of each other in the lines coming through the door. And I'm like, dude, whatever it is, we'll have to just wait. And I mean, it's really interesting to see how different people are responding to this, and that's concerning. So I love that is promote the work safe environment and come to work so you can be safe. and I'm sure
exactly. And I don't know how long this whole 6 foot thing's going to be going on for, but one little fun thing that we kind of created or came up with over the weekend. Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. So we do these permanent warning line type setups. They're usually put on roofs to indicate 6 feet from the edge to not go past that point. And so what they are is like they're cable drawn. And I apologize for the manufacturing that noise in the background. But anyway, so these flags, they say danger on them. And we said, well, wait a minute. If we print these things on 6 foot centers, check this thing out. Basically, you run a cable through it. Print in the middle, and this may serve as like a line cue, because again, how long are they going to maintain the 6 foot deal for? So I'm going to get this thing made up and crimped on some cable that we produce here and see how it works. Basically, every 6 feet, you got to, hey, stop right here. Here's your 6 foot marker and move on. So again, still try to find opportunities in all this. I mean, I think that's probably what helps keep my sanity going is, well, really make the most of it. What else are you going to do, right?
Yeah. As one of the things that been in the manufacturing and in engineering design side of the house, for years, I've always been intrigued by engineers' mindsets. Usually there's one of two things that engineers are designed to do. They're technically trained, and Roger will probably chime in on this. I'm sure he'll have an opinion, but they're trained on figuring out how it won't work. So somebody comes up with a great idea. They bring it, their job on the planet, and they've been trained to do this, is to shoot holes in it and to show you why it won't work and what's wrong with it or how it's broken. And then there's the flip side of the folks that are set up on the planet that are trying to figure out how it will work, right? How to come up with something. And when you put those two people in the room together, it's always fun to watch kind of the dynamics on how they fit together, because you need to have the yin and the yang. You got to have both sides of it, because I'm the kind of guy that said, okay, let's go build a tree house, and I'm going to grab the nails and hammer now, right? And that's about the the preparation that I need for some stuff, but that's just the mindset is are you playing in business, especially right now? We all got to figure out which game are we going to play. Are we going to play not to lose, or are we going to be playing to win? And we get to choose that. I mean, because you play the game completely different. Are you on offense or are you on defense? Are you trying to figure out? I love, coming up with new ideas and concepts and tools and possibilities and opportunities for business. I believe there's a ton of them out there. And those that have that optimistic mindset, trying to figure out how to do that rather than, trying to herd everything in. If we got any accountants on the line, I don't know any. Hopefully I don't offend anybody. But, a lot of times the accountants are really looking for the only way we can survive is just to cut back. And I've never seen a company reduce expenses to profit. There's a short-term gain in that, but when you start, when you start dividing the pie up, some people say, you can only divide a pie so many ways. I think you just need to bake more pies, right? That's my opinion on it. Let's figure out how to bake more pies. Let's figure out how we can work together. And again, that's part of what these calls are about, is to try to keep new ideas flowing and concepts, and try to figure out how we can support each other in the new opportunities that are ahead of us. So, and Sloan, I know you got a call, you got to hop on real quick, but I really appreciate y'all's time. Before you do that, I want everybody to look this way real quick. Everybody look this way, smile. We're going to do a quick photo while we still got Sloan on the thing. Smile, wave. Everybody smile, wave, smile, wave. Okay, cool. Now it's official. We'll be able to put that in there. All right, Sloan, and I know,
I think the forklift guy's looking at me really funny. Why is he waving into his phone? Definitely looking at me kind of funny.
I love it. All
right.
Any other things you like to add before you wrap it up, buddy?
No, just keep your head on straight. Basically, I mean, I know it's you can get down in a hurry during all this. But again, you got to just maintain that positive mindset and know that there is opportunities out there. We are ultimately going to get out of this. The last thing we need to be doing is basically going down a rabbit hole. It's only going to make things worse. So just maintain a positive mindset and outlook, and we'll get through it. So thank you for having me, and I'll touch base later in the week. All right.
Thanks, brother. You have a good one. We'll see you soon.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
All right. Thanks. All right. Fantastic. All right. So that was the sort of the target for the day, is to share what's working in Sloan's space and the opportunities that we got ahead of us. If you notice that Brittany and Heather both have new backgrounds, I am so thrilled about that. I cannot stand it. They're back in the office, and that is so cool. They bring all kind of light and life back into the crowd. Wesley's and I have been missing that a lot. So we're thrilled to have that back on stage. So, but I want to open it up to you guys and talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we've shared. Tom, I know you got all sorts of stuff going on in your space in the shipping world, or that plus all the other projects that you got going on. Tell us a little bit what's shaking there with you.
Well, appreciate it, Jason. Good morning, everyone. Along the same lines as Sloan, right? So it's kind of a harsh reality, right? With a lot of things that have happened with all these manufacturers. It affects downstream and upstream. So we've seen it on the freight management side of the business, where trucks are still moving, they're still out there, but you got to have stuff to move. In the last week or two, truckload rates in the marketplace have really become aggressive. So the reason for that is because capacity is opening up, right? Mm-hmm. Because there's more trucks out there now that's willing to haul loads. So the rates come down on the truckload side. That's going to last up until everybody gets back to work. Once everything opens up, it's going to be a flip side of a coin. So for those of you that are in the marketplace and have product to move in that, it's actually a pretty attractive market from that standpoint. Mm-hmm. We're still seeing activity with customers that are have been, and the ones that are innovative are looking to do things differently. We have some projects that we're working on, digital supply chain. Mm-hmm. And visibility into their transportation, as well as their inventory and sales order systems. So what everybody kind of refers to as digitizing supply chain. So I know on our friends over at Supply Chain Now Radio, Greg White made a really good point. Basically said if you're not looking at digitizing your information on the supply chain side, you're going to be kind of a dinosaur. And that even includes if you're still working off spreadsheets to manage your inventories and things of that nature, regardless of the size. Technology is out there. It is affordable. All your competitors are eventually going to be have that engagement on the supply chain digitizing side of the equation, because everybody wants that real-time visibility that's the trickle down effect from the Amazon, right?
Right.
Which you order it, you want to know where your package is, when's it coming, what's the status. It's the same thing now with pretty much the type of goods that are being manufactured, and either on the supply chain side or on the distribution side. So we're actually seeing opportunities there. People are starting to look at different things, and we're also seeing some opportunities where people are actually just trying to figure out what do we do next with our supply chain, especially ones that are offshore, and how that's impacted their business. Just a side note, but I was this past 2 weeks been working with a group called Lean Core, and one of our solution providers we represent, Robert Medichenko, is one of the thought leaders in the supply chain side of the equation worldwide. He's a keynote speaker at a lot of key supply chain conferences, and we're actually putting together a whole group of us industry leaders are coming up with a supply chain risk analysis and a risk assessment, so that within the next week or so, we'll actually have that available, and we can be able to talk to companies about coming in, actually have a methodical process to actually analyze and assess the risk that your supply chain is at, given different parameters that may or may not happen in the future. And then we can do a current state analysis off of that, and then say, okay, this is what your future state could look like, and then identify the gaps to mitigate future risk in case something like a pandemic would happen in the future.
Right.
So those are some different things that are happening right now. Make sense?
Cool. Yep. No doubt. And I want to get you connected with Justin Hughes a little bit. We're going to be working, Justin and I have got a little project we're working on together. I think it could grow some legs pretty quick. We'll roll that out to you as we get a little more meat on the bone, but I definitely want to, Justin, can you hear us okay? Are you able to get online there? I know he's muted there. There you go. You good?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Sorry, I was at Wally World. That
Nice.
Interesting.
Maybe the lines calmed down since Saturday morning. So.
Yeah. So what was it? I think it was Friday or Thursday or Friday was my first time kind of being at a store since all this happened.
Right.
So it was interesting. Yeah, I was checking out, so I was trying to listen in as much as I could.
Yeah. Cool. We're glad to have you on the line with us. And Justin, like I said, Justin and I are working on some cool stuff I think might turn into, but I definitely want to, once we get this call wrapped up, connect you and Tom Valentine together, and we'll kind of chat through that.
Definitely. Yeah. There was a lot of good points today. That kind of helps all of that.
Perfect. All right. Ely. I always get your name messed up. All right.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you on the line.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, tell us what's going on at VDL.
At VDL, we are still manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
We have everyone in the office working from home, but we're starting to have a few people from the office come back next week when the official stay-at-home order is over.
Mm-hmm.
We have people all in separate offices, so we make sure that no one is within 6 feet, which is obviously not always possible, but also with the break room, we make sure we only have 5 to 7 people at a time go in. We have quite a break room. So yeah, just to make sure that everyone stays healthy and have a guard up in the meet. And for me personally, I'm the sales manager, so for me it's still a little slow. I mean, we have a few new customers on board that I'm working with, but besides that, I'm trying to be respectful of other companies and not trying to be too pushy and just see whenever things open back up, to get back out there.
Yep. Very cool. Hopefully things will open up soon and we'll be back to full production soon, and people will be comfortable letting folks in and out. I think that'll happen. It does take a little while for people to pick up on the comfort level and safety and security, feel like that they're okay in that. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I wish it would happen overnight, but right now I don't think that's a possibility. But I'm praying by July, August timeframe, people will be a lot more comfortable, and we'll see the numbers. You know, we'll have some data behind it to see how the spread's going and that sort of thing. So glad to have you online with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, Pierre, what's shaking in your world, brother?
It was a pretty interesting article I saw yesterday, just from an investment standpoint. Last year, our company invested in converting everything from cubicles to an open environment.
Huh.
And
Interesting.
so we spent about $750,000 in a complete redesign of the whole office complex.
Right.
Only to find yesterday the article that says cubicles may be the way to go. Because now it's like we want partitions.
Right. Keep things hemmed up. That's just part of it, man. That's just part of it.
It is. And that might be something that actually goes beyond our current situation is how do we protect the employees that have to sit next to each other.
Right.
As much as we want to have 6 feet, in some cases, it's just not possible.
Right. Yep. Well, how's business? What are things looking like in your world, man? What's it?
Actually, we had a couple of cancellations, but overall, the aftermarket side, which is based on usage of our aftermarket parts at Wheelabrator, we made basically equipment that tears itself up from the inside out. So we have a very good aftermarket business. It's down about 25%, and that's just all based on customer usage and backing that off. The capital equipment actually is holding up pretty well.
Okay.
Some delays in delivery, but as far as the amount of orders, looks real good.
Okay. Cool. That's I love to hear that for sure. Well, thanks a bunch, and we'll definitely get back down to visit with you guys soon, and hopefully we'll be getting some events on the calendar before long.
Love to have you.
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Mike, what's going on in your world, brother?
Sorry, Jason, I had to fumble for the unmute button. I had sent you an email prior to the call, and going back to what we do with, I'll say, facility management. Please share this with everyone. There's two concepts. It's called well and fitness that really come out of the office industry, and this is before the pandemic. But this is certifications on how you can keep employees better health in their environment. So an application could be met, like Pierre just said, as far as the office, but even taking it over into the factory floor. So there's a Atlanta who teaches these criteria, Charlie Critelli. So I just forwarded his information, because you can see by the email I sent, we have some people asking, well, what are they going to do? How are they going to clean up from this?
Right.
And so these are some standards that can be used.
Okay.
So I just wanted to share that with everyone.
I got you. Cool. Thanks. I appreciate that. Looking forward to digging into that a little bit and passing it around. All right, Scott, what's going on in your world, brother? Hey, Scott. Give him an opportunity to find the unmute button. Scott, are you there? Going once, twice. All right, Jason Lamers, what's going on, buddy? What's shaking in your world?
Well, as you can see from my background, we have decided to keep the office workers at home in the interim. Production still reporting to work as normal. I actually called the shop floor supervisor last week just to check on them and see how those guys are feeling and holding up. And he said, it's just business as usual for us.
Nice.
We're keeping 6 feet from each other, but otherwise it's not really affected the way that we work, because we don't come in close contact with each other much anyway. As far as sales is going, anything building materials related has been down, and as anybody who's familiar with Grid and Zabak knows, that's a significant portion of our market. The projects aren't being canceled, but a lot of them are being put on hold, some indefinite. So we don't know when that will all come back online, but we were shifting, even before this started, we were shifting our focus towards the interlogistics market. So we're really pushing and advertising for those kind of transactions, which is a lot of retail and commercial driven. So
Okay.
that comes out in the next 6 to 8 months here.
Very cool. Well, you mentioned marketing. What do you guys have on the radar? I know Sloan said that he was talking about big solar show they're planning to do in the fall, and opportunities for any kind of other digital marketing.
For us, I've got a trade show coming up here. It was supposed to be in March, and it got rescheduled for June. Hopefully, it will continue to actually happen at the end of June for Design to Part in Atlanta. And we've canceled most of our on-site trade shows for the rest of the year, and we're moving to a more digital platform. Even the interlogistics setup that you saw at Modex when you stopped by, they were doing a much bigger version of that for the European show.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of just scrapping all that work when that European show got canceled, I can't tell you what the name of it is off the top of my head, but they actually moved the whole setup to a display area in Hamlar, Germany at our central office, and now have been doing a bunch of videos. And you can actually look at our YouTube page. Grenzebach has a great YouTube page showing all of our different things, and we're posting more and more videos to that. We're going to actually start recording some parts manufacturing here soon, so we'll record every step from machining to assembly.
Okay.
And do time-lapse videos of that for some of our equipment.
Nice. If you would, down in the chat box, just type in your website address, so people that I spell it wrong every time 4 or 5 ways, but eventually I'll get it right. So if you'll put that in there, that'll be great. That way, anybody wants to take a peek at that, have the opportunity to. All right. Let's see. Karen Larkin, can you hear us? Okay. All right, Karen, are you there? Going once, going twice. All right. Stand by just a second. All right. Mr. Hayden, tell us what's going on in your world, brother. What are you seeing out there?
DOE, as we talked about last week, has kind of pushed everything back to 1 June.
Uh-huh.
Listening to what's going on nationally, I would suspect that we'll actually start getting back to whatever the new normal is during the month of May. I think you'll see it phased in.
Okay.
We're waiting on what actions they want to make, and then we'll react as quick as we can.
Okay. Cool. Well, just keep us posted as stuff rolls out for sure. All right. And Koki, what's going on in your world, girl? Nope. Hold on a second. Okay. You good? Right.
Actually, I was at a local grocery store Saturday night just before they closed and noticed that they had put signs on the floor one way.
Uh-huh.
You can only go in that aisle one way and then turn around. And I was all alone in the store, and it's like, wait a minute. What do I do? So I broke the rules. I went back and forth, and I felt so good being all by myself. But it was really interesting. They did a lot of signage in the stores to keep people from mingling accidentally.
There's our shopping rebel there.
Oh yeah, it was kind of fun. Yeah, that's all I have.
I love it. Cool. Thanks much. All right, Mr. Roger Grabman, what's going on, brother?
Yes. Well, I was on Zoom on a social event Saturday, and I had shared the reaction, the anticipation that office space rents may drop, but warehousing and manufacturing space will go up.
Yep.
People asked why, and I said, well, okay, because there's going to be a lot more onshoring and close by warehousing. And lots of managers have discovered, hey, we can have people working remotely. That does work. Suggestion earlier about using cubicles over open office. The reality is the ventilation system still mingles the air pretty much. 4-foot wall, 5-foot wall doesn't make a whole lot of isolation.
Right.
Perhaps companies should set up plexiglass curtains that they hang under certain conditions. So they have these ready to go when those conditions pop up again. Just don't lose them in storage.
Right.
Or when you move the office seating around, now you got to make sure your curtains still fit. Maybe a better solution would be localized air cleaners. Everybody have an air cleaner under their desk.
Yep. Cool. Wesley would need two. That's a whole nother story. We'll just roll with that one. Good stuff, Roger. Well, you mentioned something. One of the
I was speaking last week with an organizer for a trade show that's going to be at the Galleria in July.
Okay.
They're moving ahead with their schedule. They're doing a similar trade show in Dallas in June.
Who are you talking about? D2P?
No, it's Build Expo.
Really? I need to talk to those guys.
I gave them your name.
Yeah, because I need to find out where, how people are shaking this stuff out. I'm shocked that D2P is scheduled. Jason, did it for sure get rescheduled for June? Design department, is it firm?
The dates I was given, I'll have to recheck them, but they were in June.
Okay.
And I was not notified of another reschedule after that.
Okay. All right. Cool. I'll dig into that too, because we gotta firm that up. That's a pretty good show. I mean, we've been plugged into that for many, many years. Design to Part. It was scheduled for the 25th and 26th of March, as a matter of fact, and now it's later. Okay. Cool. All right. And so Roger mentioned something about buying. Everybody get your pen out. Everybody write this down. This is a writer downer. This is something you want to do as soon as we wrap up this call. Write this down. Buy from Georgia. BUI from Georgia.com. Now, this is something that we've been working on, playing with for years. It's a passion of mine. And it's something we built. There's like 6.4 billion products that are available, SKUs that are available on Amazon. And what we've done is we've scoured all of Amazon, and as best we could, we put them on a single web page, the products that are manufactured in the state of Georgia. You now, every time you go to buyfromgeorgia.com and make a purchase, you're helping to support and grow manufacturing in Georgia. We found that there's a little bit of a disconnect from the consumer to the final manufacturing, and there's all sorts of dynamics around that. But we're adding to that page regularly. So if it's products that are available on Amazon that are manufactured in Georgia, and you want to do about them, feel free to pitch those over the fence to us and send us the Amazon number. And then what we'll do is we'll add them to that page. But buyfromgeorgia.com, we don't have all the products listed there, but we got a bunch of them, and if you're deciding between Energizer batteries for the clock in the office or Duracell, you go to there and you can buy Duracell batteries, direct AA and AAA batteries that are manufactured in LaGrange, Georgia, and support 400 Georgia families. Every time you go through that page, you know that you're buying stuff. So start your Amazon shopping if you need anything. Clorox, as a matter of fact, you can go to Clorox and you can buy Bounty paper towels, right? And Charmin, right? Not that that's the best place to buy stuff, but it can be. I mean, take a look there first. So I'd encourage you to take a look. That's just a project that we've been working on for years. Not a lot to it, but share that around. I believe that there's going to be a huge shift in consumer focus on buying local like there has never been before. I think that, I've probably talked to 24 people this past week that have sworn off anything made in China. I'm not, if I can find it somewhere else, I'll pay twice as much for it if I can buy it made in the US. People are really a lot bigger of an attitude about it as I have ever seen. People are like, if we're going to do this and we're going to support our manufacturers, we need to be able to buy quality stuff and buy it from ourselves and support our local manufacturers. I believe that we're in a really great place to benefit from that. But we as consumers, we need to do what we say, right? We need to buy local, and this is again, a simple, easy way. Buyfromgeorgia.com. Go buy one thing. Go buy some Wrigley's. I actually did that. I ordered some Wrigley's gum on Prime just to see if they would send it to me, and they did. A little 5-pack of Wrigley's gum showed up at the door the next day for like $3 or something, same as I'd buy it. But anyway, dig in there and pass that around. You don't have to be a manufacturer to plug into this, but any consumer, I believe that we need to continue to support our manufacturers and buy more local. So that's just a tool that we'd like to encourage you guys to play with. Miss Michelle, tell us what's going on in your world.
Not a lot. I had an ear infection at the end of last week, so I was down for the count. But with this buy from Georgia, it was cutting out a little bit. You said there's an Amazon store or something like that?
So this is just a portal to get to your Amazon page. So if you click on a product, if you click on some Wrigley's gum, it takes you to your normal Amazon login. But what this does is this just filters all the products that are listed on Amazon for Georgia products that are manufactured in Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So, and you said that we can add some to that if we see some that
Yeah,
are
if
not.
you see something, all you got to do is send an email to support@Georgia Manufacturing. But you got to make sure that you verify that for sure that they're manufactured in the state of Georgia. I mean, you have got to have walked through the factory. You got to know that they really do make stuff, because we've had a lot of stuff suggested that is made here, and come to find out it's imported or distributed through Georgia or whatever. So we're really, really anal about making sure that we just double check on all of that.
Right.
You'll be blown away at how many products are made right here.
I already have been just in this group. I didn't realize, all of the things that are, I mean, you drive by and you see manufacturers all the time, but you don't necessarily know what it is. And even if it's just like some people make the parts that are assembled somewhere else, whatever. But I also believe that if enough people stick to buying USA goods, that it's supply and demand. Will end up going down a little bit, and doesn't mean the quality will, but it just changing over the machines and things like that takes time.
Yep.
And where some of those dollars adds up on that downtime, they still have to figure all that in. So if they're making more of the product, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, but that these people know all of this stuff. But
every one of us gets the opportunity to make purchasing decisions for our house and for our business and for our community. And this is a simple way that, if you start every online shopping process at Buy From Georgia, just to look to see if they got it first, right? See if it's in there. And again, we're not touching anything. I mean, we're not touching transaction and none of that stuff. But what we do is if you go through this portal, we know that you went through. So I've been talking to Duracell for years, being involved in GMA, and they're like, well, what does it do for me? Well, there's no way for us to quantify how many times I've told that story, that the Duracell batteries were manufactured in LaGrange, Georgia, and support 400 Georgia families. But if you go through and buy this, it tracks. It doesn't say that Michelle bought a pack of Duracells, but it says a pack of Duracells were bought through here, right? It tracks that through, so we can go back and say, well, there were 10,000 batteries sold this past month from people that want to buy local, right? And then Duracell then can see that we're actually converting and making a difference in their bottom line. So it's a win-win. It's all about us, again, supporting each other in that way. So get in there and wear that thing out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Oh, I love Amazon. No more Walmart.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Mr. Brian Weber, what's going on in your world, brother?
There we go. Yeah, the Buy From Georgia website. I've known about that since we met. It works. It's great. What do I do? I've got I've been writing more than ever before. I've got three clients that need content, and I recommend that everybody, if they have time, to build up their content, to communicate with their customers, whether it's B2B or B2C. Professionally, that's been keeping me busy. Content. It makes a big difference. People read it if it's positioned right and it supports the brand. Personally, We'll have my partner's 90-year-old mother with us. She's spry and taking her half-mile walk once a day by herself. And we're just trying to figure out how to get her back home to Michigan as soon as possible. And, you know, keeping her well fed and so forth. That's about it. Nice to see everybody today.
Awesome. Great, Ryan. Thanks. All right, Miss Heather, what's going on? What are you thinking? I know you had a wild weekend. You all excited about being back in the office?
I am. It's nice to be back. It's cold in here this morning. I'm used to sitting at the house with a blanket.
To bring in the GMA blanket.
There you go. Great idea. Great idea. Glad to be back. Glad to see everybody on here this morning.
All right, perfect. All right, Miss Birthday Girl.
Glad to be back, but I will say I am having the hardest time getting comfortable in this chair. So that's the struggle for this morning. I went to sit down and I didn't realize how low it was. Got that fixed, and now I'm trying to figure out.
Get your spot back.
Yeah, yeah, exactly right. Trying to get my spot back. I think it's going to take a few days.
No
Get
doubt.
some GMA pillows along with that blanket.
We don't make it too comfortable. We'll all be taking a nap.
Well, I figured I could just put it back there, you know.
I got you. Cool. Well, guys, this has been, the reason that we do these is so we can share best practices and make sure that we're kind of keeping each other in check, seeing how we can support each other. Our goal hadn't changed, is to help support and grow manufacturing in the state of Georgia. We're going to do it any way that we can, any way that works. That we need your feedback, though. If you see things that are needed in the marketplace, maybe things that we could bring to the table and be more beneficial and supportive in your role, please let us know. I mean, we're here to serve you guys. That's the goal on the planet, is we want to make sure that we're bringing it every day. So appreciate everybody for sharing and having some input on the call today. We do have I'll give you the lineup of the calls this week. On Tuesday, we have a task force call. So if you've got products and services, if you got materials that you want to bring to the table, some to fix in this war, the coronavirus war that we're in the middle of fighting, we were able to make some really great connections for helping people make masks, making hospital dividers, hand sanitizer. We've been able to make some really cool connections through the links that we've had. So Tuesday is task force, Wednesday is networking. You do have to be a active GMA member to plug into the networking. We had our first call last week and it was a hoot, man. We had a really good time on that and made some good connections. We're really excited about being able to provide virtual networking once a week for GMA members. So take a look at that. That fits in your schedule. All these calls are at 10 o'clock. So 10 o'clock for the task force on Tuesday. On Wednesday is networking, and on Thursday we're going to do a retooling or reopening call. So companies are going to be sharing some of their best practices on bringing stuff back to the table, getting business back up and running. We are going to have a guest speaker on that. Holly Godfredson from American Metalcraft is going to be on one of our speakers. Now, they have worked all the way through, but they've implemented a lot of strategies, much like Sloan has at Tie Down. And so she's going to be able to bring some of her insights about what's working with her. And they're in the building industry. They do basically metal cladding for buildings. So, but she said that they've been running nonstop. They have had to, do some interesting things with social distancing inside their production facility, and she's going to share some of those. And then we're going to have an opportunity at a roundtable like this part is to, share what's working and some strategies to not build your business around, trying not to lose, but really strategies on how we can win, and grow from this. There's some great opportunities that are coming down the pipe. We're here to make the connections. So Tuesday's task force, Wednesday's networking, virtual networking. Thursday is the retooling for manufacturing. And then Friday at 4 o'clock, we're doing the Fun Friday, which is just a fun social hour. I'd encourage you guys to plug into that. So that's our lineup. Let us know how we can serve you better. And with that, we're going to wrap this call up spot on time. Thanks again for being part of the day, and we'll look forward to catching up with you guys on the next call. Have a great day, guys. See ya.